Hi, I'm Camila Andini. I'm the director of Before Now and Then.
Hi, my name is Gita Farah, and I'm the producer of Before Now and Then.
Yeah, and I'm Eva Isvansyah, the producer of Before Now and Then.
The project came to me and also the story in 2000, around 2018 to 19. It based on an autobiography novel of a woman art dealer in Indonesia, which is she is a Sundanese, and there is a chapter that she talk about her mother, and I got to read the chapter. And when I read the chapter, there are two things in my mind. The first thing is that it's also something that actually happening to my grandmas because it's set in a culture where I came from as well, from Bandung, from Sunda, and it also what is said that it also happened to my family back in the 1960s, and I felt connected right away to it, and I felt like this is a chance for me to actually talk about my own roots and what's going on in within that era. And the second thing is that it's um, it's a periodic film, but usually in Indonesia, when you make a periodic film, it becomes like a biopic, kind of heroic, kind of film about someone. Um, but what interests me about Nana is that she's just a woman, like the way I see my grandma, my mom, or my sister, or my friend. So I want to make something that I want to make a story about a woman live in that era, but we can see her like living in daily life like us today, and very reflective on what kind of things that already move since back then, but what is actually stay the same. And it sets in a very specific time, a transition time after the revolution of the independence in Indonesia before the new order. A lot of things change in that moment, and living as a woman in that kind of era, you sort of like have to accept and survive every changes. And I think this is very interesting to portray that certain moment where we're not under any kind of occupation, but but the political situation kept changing, and we sort of like as a nation, we sort of like finding out who we are. So yeah, so I want to portray that era in a very tender kind of way.
For me, as a producer, this project is really challenging because we set up the story is even before the pandemic, and then Camila is already start to write about the story, and then pandemic coming, and then how to make this project is still feasible. Even we already set up the budget and the concept, etc. So that's why, uh, yeah, we set the project in the bubble. It's like almost 80% is in the house, and then we did research because Camila want to really into back to the periodic, but also really contemporary cinema nowadays. So we did research for the music and then production design, and yes, and even the dialect, because this film is language is in Sundanese, and uh, 60 Sundanese are a bit different. So even the audience in Indonesia is must need subtitle to see the film. So it's really challenging for me. Maybe kita can add more.
For us, I think this project also have because we are fully aware when we shoot the film during the pandemic, we have certain limitations. So we try to work as effective as possible with less crew, less cast, and I think that happens also in many films in that has been shoot in pandemics. But I think that's in a way we sort of like try to push our creative in those limitations, and I think we're quite happy with the outcome. And also we're facing challenges as well in terms of like working internationally because we work with our sound design is in Bangkok, and also color grader is in Bangkok. So we're have to at that time it's very hard to travel. So like mostly the work has been done online, and I think it's quite challenging in a way to finish everything with those restriction of travel and everything. And but I think yeah, we're quite happy with the our journey within this project, and how is it finally go out to the audience and everything.
the the objective was to focus on the vision of the film and also what I want to say in the film. And as a creator, I don't think much if it's fits the international or not. That's why I always get very nervous and panic before everything happen, because I don't really know if it's gonna work or not. But I think throughout the process, one of the things that I always keep in mind, especially when telling woman's story in this case, is that I felt like there are a lot of characters or characters of women that hasn't been represented in a big screen. And Indonesian woman in particular, we have a very different character. We are not as confrontative maybe from other women in the Western area. We have our certain way in like dealing with conflict. We cannot change the light bulb in a second with that kind of patriarchal society. We need process. We need time. We need to deal with our own vulnerability, enable to fight the system, and we have different way of strength in that. I think I want to represent that, and I think there will be a lot of women who also face the same struggles. I don't know, everywhere, maybe, hopefully, but yeah, that's the objective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. As a producer, I always believe with Camila's vision because yes, she always have a really strong creative vision, especially about in women's story. And all of Camila's film is always use local dialect. Even for Indonesian, I always thinking that it is work for the national market or not. But how she tell the story is really global in terms of the creative packaging, in terms of music, visual, and yeah, that's why I believe that's her approach is works for the general audience. Yeah.
I could relate so much to the situation here, because in Indonesia also we have so many people thinking that the cinema is not suitable for young people to hang out in terms of from the perspective of religion and etc. And in Indonesia itself, I remember we only be able to put back Indonesian cinema to the cinema in 1988. So I could felt relate to that it's something new going on, but I could feel the hope and then the excitement for that, because after what we've been through as well in Indonesia right now, Indonesian people watching Indonesian cinema, we have a great numbers of box office because of what things been through. So it's great for me to see the changes that happening here. It's great for me that there is a film festival like Red Sea also happening, because in Indonesia it's even way more struggle for us to create this such of a film festival. So I can imagine it will be a good process to that. But more than that, I think as an Indonesian, this is such a part of the world that we look up so much as a country that a most populated Muslim country. We talk about Saudi Arabia so much, and yet we don't know anything more than what was the religion said about the country. We rarely seen films from this part of the world, and the other way around, I guess. So I think to be able to screen Indonesian film here and also to be able to watch films from this region as well, I think it's a great thing to know more about, yeah, this not just like a myth or something like that. We see reality finally. Yeah.
It's my third day here, and I'm really amazed with like the positivity and also enthusiasm of the people's of in here towards cinema, because yeah, like you said earlier, they just have cinema for like 5 years, but I think this room for changing perspective and also know each other cultures and everything is very crucial to be built continuously. And I think I'm really happy to have this. Last night we screen our films, and like the wide range of audiences are there, like from the Saudis and also other filmmakers. And I think hopefully this is this film can also mean something to them, to give other perspective from other part of the world.